So guys, with the launch of Chapter 4, there have been a lot of new additions to the game, and in today's video, I want to go over the 5 best strategies that you are not going to be using in your games and how you can learn them and then implement them into your competitive games. Now, I really enjoy a lot of these strategies. I think they're very valuable, especially when you guys are playing stuff like Arena and Scrims. If you're playing these game modes, these strategies are stuff that you're definitely going to have to be using. A lot of the pros are abusing these strategies, so be sure to listen up. Now, be sure to use code SonataYT in the Fortnite item shop if you guys do want to support me. Let's hop right into this video. So I want to begin by going over my personal favorite one of these strategies. This is going to be the use of capture points effectively. Now, if you guys don't know, capture points are essentially going to be a small little area within a named POI where there's going to be a little ring in which you can stand, and your character will be able to capture the point, and then once the point is captured after a 45-second waiting period, it's going to drop you a good amount of loot and then reveal every single chest and every single player within the POI that you're in. Now, as you guys can see from what I just said there, this is an absolutely insane strategy that not enough players are abusing. What I'll see a lot of people do is they'll try to land at a POI, fight off spawn, try to eliminate everybody, and then at the end of eliminating all the enemy players, then they'll go for the capture point. But what I would personally recommend is that you try to land, get a weapon, get some materials, and then box up around the capture point and try to get it as quick as possible. Because then what's going to happen is you can go to the center of it, get all of the loot that it dropped for you, and then run around the POI with the opponents being marked through your walls. You essentially have wall hacks on them. You can go around looting all of the chests with wall hacks on those as well. And you're going to be able to get a bunch of loot, a lot of eliminations, and overall have a very good time looting and winning the POI over the other players around you. Capture points are an extremely effective off-spawn strategy. They're very useful for getting loot if you don't have very good loot. For example, some of the best loot in the POI will be found at these capture points. And also, if you need shield, there's guaranteed shield within each one of these, so I'd recommend you definitely consider landing here. Also, I believe shockwave hammers are definitely guaranteed throughout these capture points, which is one other reason that I would recommend you definitely try to get these as soon as possible when you land at a major named POI. A lot of pro players are using these within their duo drops. A really big part of who wins these duo off-spawn fights is who's able to actually get control of the capture point first. Oftentimes, those are the people that actually end up winning. But overall, capture points are an extremely underrated strategy that I'm not seeing enough players use within their competitive lobbies, so be sure to consider checking them out. Now, the second one is going to be an effective looting strategy. This is going to be the use of slap barrels and slap juices. Now, as you guys know, the brand new consumable item, slap juices, and the brand new map item, slap barrels, were added into the game in Chapter 4. Basically, what both of these things do is display you with a small amount of slap juice that gives you 15 shield, but the real big benefit of what slap juice does is it gives you an infinite sprinting ability for a short period of time. This is a very powerful attribute, not only because it gives you unlimited sprinting ability and the ability to run around as fast as possible, but it actually doesn't run out for a good amount of time. I believe the timer is around 30 to 45 seconds, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's an absolutely incredible item. What I would recommend you guys do in order to use this is land at a place that has guaranteed slap barrels or guaranteed coolers in which you can try to get slap juice from. Then I'd recommend you try to pop these juices periodically or break these barrels periodically and then run around your POI, barging through all the doors, looting very quickly, and abusing the infinite sprint ability to the best of your ability. What this will do is in turn, it'll give you the ability to loot a POI as quickly as possible and leave as quickly as possible as well. It also assists you in being able to leave a POI or leave a POI after an off-spawn fight happens. It's really good at helping you get out of sticky situations. Overall, slap juice is very important and needs to be used by you guys in this brand new chapter. That's the reason primarily that I think that a lot of people are trying to schedule their drop spots around areas that actually have slap juice, even within their POIs. For example, if you land at a POI, you're going to try to land at the place that has more slap juice barrels or more coolers, which leads to a higher probability of you getting slap juice. The person who does that will be more well prepared for the off-spawn fight and doing much better throughout the rest of the game. So once again, guys, consider using slap juice in order to move faster in your game, loot faster in your POIs, and disengage from situations if you need it. You can also use it as a really good means of rotation during the end game, but that's not really as effective. However, it's still something you can do. And then the next strategy is going to also be something related to somewhat rotation and looting. This is going to be the use of impulse grenades. Now, if you guys don't realize, impulse grenades are some of the most valuable assets that you guys can get in terms of utility items. Impulse grenades drop out of chests, they can be floor spawns, they're extremely valuable for you guys being able to loot very quickly. The only difference between these grenades and shockwave grenades is that shockwave grenades are going to be launching you without the risk of fall damage, and then impulse grenades are going to be dealing fall damage to you if you use them incorrectly. However, what I'd recommend you do is that you have impulse grenades and recommend you carry them with you, especially if you're off spawn, considering that you might have some free slots in your inventory, and then impulse around the flatter areas of your POI in order to move around and get from place to place quicker. This is especially valuable if you guys are landing very wide drop spots like split drops or if you're landing a POI that's relatively fat but has very spread out areas like Frenzy Farm. Impulse grenades are extremely valuable, and they are actually some of the best when paired with the glider deploy augment. If you guys don't know, there's going to be an augment that allows you to redeploy your glider, and if you use impulse grenades with that, you're going to be able to impulse grenade up and then glide forward, trying to land in various different places around the map. This, coupled with the mobility options of the shockwave hammer and of course slap juice, are extremely valuable for this season's mobility, and they're not only going to be able to help you rotate within endgame, but they can also help you loot and move around your POI and overall the map faster. That's why I think shockwave grenades are some of the most overlooked mobility items and overall utility items within this chapter. Definitely consider checking them out if you guys are interested in trying to abuse some of the best strategies. You're going to be able to find them once again in floor spawns, in chests, and in pretty much any consumable item that you open. And then the next strategy is going to be the best augments that I'd recommend for you guys. Now guys, I want to go over the best augments for you guys within this brand new chapter 4. Now augments are a brand new addition to the game that I find very enjoyable, simply because I think they're very valuable to competitive players, and if you use correctly, then they can make or break your game. Now first off, let's go over the best combat augments. Now I personally think that some of the best combat augments start with being First Assault. This augment essentially makes the first bullet in the magazine of your assault rifle deal bonus damage. This really rewards players with very good aim. It's very valuable for those of you that have good aim with assault rifles especially, so I think it's a really good augment for those of you to have in competitive lobbies. The next one's going to be Light Fingers. Light Fingers is essentially an augment that makes your weapons using light ammo reload faster. This really helps within box fights, so you have to spend less time reloading your SMGs and your pistols. I also think that Rifle Recycle is pretty good. This says that weapons using medium ammo have a chance not to consume ammo. However, there are better options. It's still a solid augment. And then the last best combat augment is going to be Rushing Reload. This says that sprinting will slowly reload your equipped shotgun. It's pretty solid because over time you're going to be reloading your shotgun and you won't have to waste time on that later. Now in terms of game-changing augments, these are really the big augments that are going to really change your overall course of the game and how you play. Both of these are extremely good. The first one's going to be Chug Gunner. This gives you a chug cannon, basically spawns it on you, and you can use it for the rest of the game. This is by far one of the best. In my opinion, it is the best simply because a chug cannon is by far one of the best medical supply items that you can have in Fortnite. It recharges over time and it's pretty solid. It gives you health, shield, so there's pretty much no doubt to take this augment. And then the next augment that's going to be game turning is going to be the aerialist one. This grants you a glider redeploy for the rest of the match. Essentially anywhere you jump off of, you can redeploy your glider, and it's very solid and it does never fail. You can use this with impulse grenades like I mentioned before, and then you can rotate very effectively throughout the map. It's a very solid augment. I would never pass up the opportunity to actually take it if I can. Now in terms of mobility and discovery augments, my favorite ones for this are going to be starting with More Parkour. This says that your energy regenerates briefly after mantling or hurdling. This is solid because you're going to be able to rotate around faster. I also think that Bush Warrior is extremely valuable. This is where you regenerate health and partial shields while inside large foliage. What this means is that when you're in a bush or a collection of leaves, you're going to be regenerating health quite fast. Then the next one's going to be Storm Marking. This is when the storm changes, it's going to ping the area to highly nearby enemies for a short duration. This gives you the ability to rotate effectively and make your decisions on where to rotate throughout the zone. And then obviously the last one is going to be Soaring Sprints. This is very solid because while sprinting you'll be able to jump much higher and jump with lower gravity. Now this is going to be really good for rotation, as you guys know. And of course the one storm augment that I would recommend for you guys is going to be Marking the Storm. This is going to be always revealing the next storm circle for you guys. It's a very solid augment. You always need to choose it, especially in a competitive lobby. Quite a useful augment. I'd recommend you always choose it if possible. And then for looting, there's going to be two. This is going to be Splash Medic and Jelly Angler. They are valuable. Obviously, one of them gives chug splashes in every container, and then the other one gives you jellyfish whenever you fish, but I wouldn't recommend that you try to choose them over the other augments that I mentioned. But overall, those are the best augments, and let's get into the final strategy that I'd recommend to you guys. Now, this is going to be hollow chests. If you guys don't know, hollow chests are essentially those little chests that require keys and you can get items from them. Now, I don't see enough people using hollow chests to the best of their ability. They're a very valuable item. Essentially what happens is if you are able to get keys, you need to rotate as quickly as possible to a hollow chest and get the best item there. Some of the best items can be gold shotguns, they can be gold scars, gold SMGs, they can be very good chili chug splashes. Stuff like that is very valuable in a competitive lobby. You guys need to rotate to the best hollow chest. If there's a hollow chest that you see that doesn't have the greatest items, you don't need to buy something from it. You can go to another one at a gas station or a local POI nearby. You can find another hollow chest and then easily loot that to get the best amount of loot possible. However, the only catch is that you do need keys for this, but keys are actually pretty common. They can be found in floor spawns, they can be found after eliminating opponents, they can be found in capture points, they can be found on the ground. They're extremely common items. Consider finding keys and then rotating over to a hollow chest in order to effectively get a good amount of loot. and really stack up on your weapons and meds. Because obviously chili chug splashes are very rare, those are the only way to get them, and they're extremely valuable, and you can find them through holo chests. Anyways guys, those are the best 5 strategies that you guys are not using in chapter 4. I really enjoyed making this video. A lot of these strategies are really useful and you guys really need to consider using them. I think that this is a very valuable video for those of you newer competitive players, but it's also really good for those of you experienced competitive players that aren't really used to chapter 4 yet. Consider reviewing what I said. Once again, capture points, slap barrels, impulse grenades, augments, and holo chests are all extremely valuable. But that's about it for this video guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.